Welcome back to Football Manager 2024 Rebuilding Cologne. So we find ourselves in 8th place with 19 points. It doesn't really matter how you end up starting this because we started around 13th to 15th place throughout most of the season, and somehow we've been on a decent run that it could potentially put us up to 6th place with a win, or depending on the goal differential, because currently Freiburg has 5 goals on us and we're just at level. Most of that's due to our recent form. We turned it around completely when you last saw us. After the Borussia game, we then lost to Bayern, Augsburg, and then we ended up tying against Bochum. We then ended up turning around with 2 straight ties against Frankfurt and Stuttgart, so we won on a 3-game tie streak before turning around against Berlin and beating them 2-1. One of them was due to Tim Lemperle scoring in the 90+1 minute, which was huge for us. And then even beating Kaiserslautern 2-0, largely due to the penalty that we ended up getting early on. We then tied against Bayer Leverkusen before beating Darmstadt 98 at the very end, thankfully due to Etienne Bourier, who has started doing pretty decent for us. We will quickly look at the match, and I'll show you the goal that he scored at the very end, which, I mean, had me on the edge of my chair. It was just a momentous occasion, and he's definitely going to get starts just because of this moment here. As you can see, Thielmann ends up crossing in here, and just an absolute stunner in the 94th minute, which sent us through against a team that had probably the worst run in all of the Bundesliga. As you can see, at the time they had a couple more ties than anything, but they haven't won yet. We didn't want to be into that tie column. We did end up beating Dusseldorf as well, largely due to Thielmann's penalty in the 24th minute, but we did feature a rotated squad for the most part. We did also beat Freiburg as well 3-2, and Selke ended up putting on a clinic with the 2 goals, and then Mania scored at the very end to put us through after they ended up leveling with us. One of the interesting factors into this whole save is the balances. Like I mentioned last time, we don't really have any sponsorships that's really featuring into our income this season, which means that we have to, once the transfer window comes up in the next episode, we have to be very mindful of the fact that we started with around 60 million and we ended up at around 40, so that's a discrepancy of around 20 million there. And during that time, we did also sell around $10 million worth of players as well, so that's probably around 30 million that we need to kind of factor into for the rest of the season. So I would say for this transfer budget, even though it says 40 million, or around 40 million, we do need to kind of be mindful of the fact that we're going to keep losing money. So we can probably spend around 30 of it, but we have to sell around $10 million worth of players, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to stay afloat, especially with this save. So it's going to be a lot more selling than what we've been used to in the past saves. Here's our squad for the Elfsberg game. We have Urbing goal, Soldo, Tele, Hubbers, and Kovacs are going to start as our back line there. We have Curley and Olsen. We're going to start for our defensive mids, and we have Balde, Bourier, and Obis that are going to start as our attacking mids. Lemperle is going to get the nod up front. Schwab is going to stay on the bench, and Hoyer could come in at some point as well. Just a quick look at Kovacs. He is starting to develop pretty decently. It's just his speed that we need to kind of focus on. For a left back, his speed's a little bit too low, but he is 6'4". So depending on what the occasion is, we might want to put him as a defensive midfielder at some point, because I feel as though that might be a bit more his style, or even maybe midfield, or even more of an attacking right mid, just because of his crossing as well. But we might want to kind of change that throughout his development. If he doesn't pick up his pace a little bit more, he might be more destined for kind of just more of a role that just stays around the same spot and doesn't have to run coast to coast the whole game. But hasn't cost us yet when we featured him, so maybe it doesn't really matter, and maybe 10 is decent enough because he can still track back. And hopefully we can manage to get a result here. Our recent run is 4 wins, 1 tie. Obis we're going to probably look at selling this season as well. They have around 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie as well. And I mean, I don't know who they ended up beating before, but I feel as though we should be able to beat them pretty decisively. But in saying that, I know it's probably going to end up like 1-0, and we're just going to be fighting to the very, very end. But Baldy gets the nod up front on the left wing there. He hasn't done as much as what we were hoping. We were getting offers for him beforehand, and I feel based on his production so far and just how he is in training, we might actually let him go if a decent offer comes in. He was one of the first transfers that we ended up doing, but I feel as though also we're going to try and go in all in for Hassan as well. Other teams that are playing is Schalke, who are up 1-0, and we'll take a closer look at the other teams that are also featuring today as well. Because depending on the side that we're in, Borje just kills that one. No chance the goalie had for that one. And Borje has been just a menace at attacking midfield. I'll show you his stats at the end of the game as well. He is starting to look pretty good at 18. And just making easy work of that. I find our midfielders are probably going to be one of the factors in this save for sure. You have Borussia, who's also up 1-0. Leverkusen up 1-0, and HSV as well. I would much more prefer that some of the lower league teams end up beating out the likes of Leverkusen, because depending on what side we are, there was an easy side last season and a much more difficult side this season as well. So hopefully we can go on the easier side, path our way through, and then all we have to do is beat them one game. But I'd be okay with Leverkusen being on the other side of that as well. So we go into halftime 1-0, but not real much has really happened there. We'll make the necessary substitutions as well. I'm not really playing a lot of our youngsters, but we're kind of waiting for the January transfer to probably feature a little bit more of them as we say goodbye to probably some of our, not key players, but some of our players that have featured a decent amount. 5 shots, 2 on target, and we concede a corner here. Wow. Wow, that's terrible defending. And we are level 1-0. It's a game now. And that was just disappointing to watch. We'll watch that in slow-mo here. And Lejancourt ends up scoring, and there's nothing we can do about it. We're going to obviously demand more, and we're probably going to feature in some of our starters now. And we almost went down 2-0. Obis is the first one that I'm looking at to come off. And we'll put Thielman in there. We'll put in, I guess Selke's going to come in for Lamperly maybe. Actually, we'll leave in Lamperly. I don't mind him. I think he's going to develop pretty decently. Curly, we'll take off Saldo. We'll put in Fincraft. He's usually a game changer as well. We'll bring in Martel we'll take off Curly. We'll leave it at that. We'll do our last sub in extra time if it gets to that point, or after we end up scoring a goal, we'll make that other necessary change. That was a bad pass. That was just a terrible pass. And we're going to get caught here. Just don't let them score or give up a pen. Good block. Lemperly doing pretty good defensively, that's for sure. Around the 65th minute. And I mean, they only have that one shot on target, but all it takes is one. We do have a chance. And Olsen loses it, but gets it back. Hubbard's now with it to Olsen, back to Martel, to Kovacs. And we're just passing right through. Selke with the chance to finish, but can't get under it. He kicks it way over. And it looks like this might end as a draw, which is going to be very disappointing. Let's do our last sub here. Lemperly looks like he can come off. And we'll bring in Mania. We'll swap out him and Thielman. And we'll go very attacking. And I mean, Urbig could be our goalkeeper for the future if we do part ways with our our current one, Schwab. Just because there's offers for him is the only reason, and we do have around a 20-30 million valued goalkeeper, so why not develop him a little bit more? I thought we were going to get a corner, but it's a free kick due to being offside. And we do get a corner at the very end. And Telly now with it, passes all the way back to Finkriff. To Mania. Oh my god, can't put it over the line. Also offside as well. And this has been a disappointing game. We should have been able to run right through them. But as it stands, it doesn't look too good. Yeah, I'm definitely not happy with this. Bourier has to come off for sure. And I guess Christensen's going to come in for him. No more suitable. What? I thought you could. What kind of extra time nonsense is this? Let's do it now. What? Alright, I guess German league is a little bit different. And we'll just go more balanced here. Let's not make Bourier run more than what he has to. But overall, kind of disappointing, I would say. And especially with Bourier. I mean, do we want to put him more as a striker role so he doesn't have to run as much? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll put him up as striker so he can just stay up there and maybe poke one in. Who knows? But we aren't going to take him off, that's for sure. Thielman now with it, loses it by just running into a lower league team. And Bourier almost scores one, but he one times instead of touches it and controls it. But, I mean, I can't really blame him for that. Good tackling there by Mina. I still want to call him Mania. And then Thielman now with it, and can't finish it. We do get a corner, and Olsen and Bourier just can barely move at this point. I'd be interested to see how they are. And no one can get to the end of it. We do finally score. Olsen finally puts it in. Looks like we weren't going to be able to do anything with it. And it's his first ever goal as well. And not too bad. Selke can't finish it, then Thielman passes it back to Olsen, who just puts it top corner. I mean, there's nothing that goalie could have done with that. It's a twisted knee. He's going to be out for a little while. Oh my god. Regardless if we put him on or take him off. If we go up one more, we'll take him off. We almost did. Offside, though. Yeah, we're going to ignore that. The reason why he's up there is so that he doesn't have to run. But Hubbard's now with it. And I hope this just goes quick. But I wouldn't mind another goal just for the confidence. Selke with it. And offside, but he does manage to finish it. So at least that should be good for his confidence. All we need to do is last another 15 minutes. But feels though balanced, we should be fine. We're not going to get caught when we're more balanced. It feels though when we're positive is when that kind of stuff happens. And Fingriff doesn't even try and tackle him. They just stand off him way too much. Hits the crossbar. That was much more interesting than what it had to be. There's still 10 minutes left. Like I said, if we go up one more and they offer us to take off Bourier, we will. And nothing to it. Surprisingly, Olsen did score when he's this exhausted. Which I do like. I do like the fact that if he's that tired, he can still crack one like that. Hubbard's to Martel, to Olsen again, Thielman to Mania, and we finish. There we go. Second goal of the season. And this is the kind of game that we should have been playing from the get-go. So it did take to extra time to to win. Can we take him off now? Are they going to ask us to take him off? No, they're not. And Schalke up, and Werder Bremen up as well. Mina, oh, Thielman couldn't finish that. That's disappointing. Still up 3-1 with 5 minutes to go. We get a corner, and we're definitely not going to score on this one. Marna with it to Hubbards, to Olsen, to Martel. Martel kicks it, and Christoph manages to save it pretty easily. Poirier loses the ball, but we get it back. Mina's actually playing pretty decent, I would say. And another one almost goes in. Surprised they're not still asking us to take off Poirier. This seems like the perfect time to ask to take him off. Bad pass, but it's not going to cost us too much. Is his name Sickfinger? No way. Sick Kinker? That's such a weird name. And it looks like our fans are probably leaving at this point. I didn't even realize we got the home game. Jacobson makes foul, and it looks like this is going to be the last kick of the ball before the end. Martel with it to Telly and to Olsen. Olsen almost lost it there, but ref signals for full time, and we crush our way through here. Not too bad. That's a decent amount to get for $1 million there for sure. HSV loses to Werder Bremen. That's interesting. And then Borussia and Leverkusen push their way through, and so does Schalke. Yeah, we get around 600K, which with other stuff probably puts it up. Gate receipts and all that kind of stuff puts it up to $1 million. Yeah, we made $1.4 million just for that game. So that's the kind of stuff that we need. So we need to really push for a Champions League finish, because it's the only way it feels as though we're going to be able to do transfers and all that kind of stuff. 4 to 7 days. That's actually not as bad as what I was thinking. I thought it was going to be much worse than that. So let's jump to the next game, and let's hope for another win. Hopefully it doesn't need any extra time for that. So let's jump to that game. And here we are facing against Mainz 05. We're going to go with the team that we normally go with. Schwab in goal, Finkgriff, Hubbards, Killian, and Augustin as our backline. Christensen and Martel as our defensive mid. Mina, Borrier, and Thielman as our attacking mid, and then Selke up front. This is what Borrier is starting to look like. He is starting to come into his own. He is 18 years old, going to turn 19 next, probably, I guess, at the end of the season, pretty much, is when he's going to end up turning 19. But he's already starting to feature pretty good for us. Potential for Bundesliga. It does have him capped at around 4 stars there, but 4 stars is definitely good enough. And even the other player that we end up having, Curly here, is developing just fine. He is currently 17. And you saw him mostly last season as well. And then we have Telly as well that's featuring in this season. But a couple of the other guys, we'll go quickly back here to show you a little bit more of our development of our youngsters. We have Ivanov here, who we'll probably bring up a little bit very soon, actually, probably in January, since he just hit 16. We're going to play him as much as possible. As a striker position. Depending on what happens in the transfer window, we might be forced to do a little bit earlier. He is a little bit upset with us because we are doing an intense training for him just to get him to develop. And then we have Albin Hoxta, who, in my opinion, is more of a defensive midfielder. He is 6 feet tall, but he doesn't really have the tackling or the marking that I would suggest for a center back here. His heading's actually pretty good, though. But I would probably rather him in this position anyways. But he's also going to be one of those guys that came from our youth last season that we're going to see a little bit more of throughout the season as well. And Nyang, I don't know how he ended up making it up here, but Senegalese 18-year-old as well. And it does look like they're making a decent amount of rotations, or at least our assistant's suggesting it. I do want Obis to come in for this game as well if he can. Curly is instrumental to coming in as well. You know what? I'm going to take off Baldy. He is currently wanted, and he hasn't been doing very well for us anyway, so I'd rather Obis get the chance, just because Obis might be with us come January, just depending on how things kind of work out. If I can get rid of him, for sure I'll do that. But against Mainz, we are away from home as well. But we would love for the winning streak to continue. We did beat HSV the other day as well. Meanwhile, Mainz ended up losing to Borussia Dortmund. So, I mean, we did kind of get a little bit of the easier route there. But you know they're probably going to be a little bit more tired from that game than we were from HSV. We're able to at least rotate some of our players, and everyone's should be well rested for this game. Even Fingref, who did pick up a slight injury last game, is perfectly fine for this one. Christensen now with it. Selke puts us on the board there with that one goal, his 10th this season. He seems to like to beat up on a lot of small teams, but I see him disappear with the bigger clubs. Just his performance this season has made it so we don't have to go too aggressive on a striker, but if we can find one that's somewhat cheap, we'll definitely do that. And we're not going all in. I did look at an attacking left/right midfielder that I'm hoping to bring in, but more details will be on next episode as well. I think he's around 7-8 million, and then we have Asan that we had last season that we're going to look to bring in to bolster up our midfield there, so he can kind of rotate between a defensive mid and attacking mid. Is definitely what we want for that guy. But he's labeled as a wonder kid now, so go figure that I kind of knew what I was talking about when I was trying to bring him in. But our board sanctioned us not to be able to make any transfers, so unfortunately couldn't bring him in permanently. But he would have been a massive player this season for us. And it feels that we might stunted his growth a little bit just based on the fact that he's not able to play with us. Selke can't quite get to it. Zentner ends up clearing that up pretty easily, but we almost timed that perfectly, and Selke almost got on the board. But we are looking at probably a center back as well. I'm not really liking the options that we have, but if I can have one that can be kind of a fringe one, I'll be happy with that as well. Selke almost getting another goal there as well. Just as I said, he likes to beat up on the lower teams for sure, but I feel that's when he shows up the most. We might end up taking off Finkref at some point, putting Kovacs, who, like I said, has been doing pretty well for us. He's doing very well in training as well, and we try and feature him as much as possible. A decent foul by Mina. They could have been off to the races there. He does get a yellow, but I do definitely condone that kind of tackle there. As long as he doesn't get another one, we'll be fine with it. But he's usually one of the guys that we end up subbing anyways. But if I can get an attacking mid, for sure, I'll be happy. Selke with another one. Good connection between the two of them. There's no way that is offside. I feel as though it should stand. Mine is talking to the ref, and I'm just hoping he doesn't get sent off by it. But goal awarded, 2-0. I was going to say there's no way that that's offside. But Fingref passing it to Mina, and then Mina with the right foot. I didn't even realize he was right-footed. But what a nice cross there, and Selke with the finish there. And they're going to show it a little bit more. Yeah, he was nowhere close to being offside. He had a good couple feet there, and we're up 2-0. I do like that. That means that we can make some subs other than Selke, who's going to end up staying on just for the chance that he could get a hat-trick. But if he gets a hat-trick, he is coming off almost immediately after that, which I would obviously love. Martel now with it. See if we can get another cross. And Mina doesn't really like to jump, I guess. And the goalkeeper ends up keeping that away pretty easily. Christensen not doing as well as I was hoping. Good pace there from Mina. It's one of the things that I was hoping Baldi was going to be. It was going to be like another Mina, and we give it away so bad. Almost conceding there, but that was there's no reason why anyone would ever try and play a ball like that. So we'll end up making our subs here. Like I said, Finkref is going to come off. We're going to put in Kovacs. 100% Kovacs. Up 2-0. Yeah, that's 100% what we're going to do. Bourier, you know what? We're going to leave Bourier in for now. Mina might come off. And we won't touch Selke for a second, but Olsen is going to come on for Christensen. And then it feels like Curly might come in for Baldi as well. And then Mina, Obis for Mina. And then, I mean, if Selke scores, we'll probably put in Niang as well. providing that we don't end up conceding right now. Good turn away, and we do concede the corner though. I don't think these subs have happened yet, or they probably did just now. So Mina looking tired, and that's the only reason why we'd be taking him off, not because of performance, because he's been playing pretty decent. Gusson has actually been playing very good as of late. He was featured on the best 11 last week. And 70th minute, we're going to make our subs. Looks like Selke's going to stay on, though. And we're going to put in Curly for Borje. Mina is going to come off for Obis. And we still have one more. Might put in a midfield here, actually. Let's put in the Turkish midfielder, see if he can actually do something here. And if he does, he'll definitely feature a little bit more. But we still have probably our defensive midfielders already figured out for the next little while, especially with Hassan. Curly almost gets it. We end up getting a corner though, 70th minute. And Obis is the one taking it. He scored a very nice goal the other day, which is kind of why I'm also on his bandwagon for right now. Thielman seems like a very inconsistent performer, I find. He doesn't show up for like 90% of the games, and then the 10% he just absolutely destroys it. But he's worth a decent amount, and he is our focal point of our team, so I can't really say that we would get rid of him. Between him and obviously Martel, we're pretty happy with our midfield situation there. But one of the kids that we're looking to bring in could kind of challenge him for a little bit of game time, but also give him a chance at playing maybe on the left or even as a striker for some time, depending on what we need. And I'm not minding the passing right now. Thielman now with it ends up losing it, so kind of what I was talking about. But we do have a 17-year-old that we are eyeing that will definitely help him not have to play as many minutes as what he's playing now. He is still young, though, and still developing. He is around, I think, 21 or 22 right now. We do concede the corner around 79th minute, and I feel as though we're going to turn this away pretty quickly. We do Selke with the header. He's been just a delight this game. And Obis is injured, but we're going to ignore that. Yeah, there's around 5 minutes. He should be able to play through it. And he doesn't look like it's that bad. Plus, he can rest the next game. Granted, he didn't go into that tackle, which is the kind of thing that we were hoping that he would do. Thielman now with it, crossing it into Selke. Come on, let's get the hat trick. And he does. He gets the hat trick. 3-0. And that's just fantastic. He definitely deserved it after the performance that he's been doing. Good eyes by Thielman. Finds Olsen, who doesn't touch it really, and then it goes to Selke. Great vision. Maybe he intended for him to get it all along. We'll take off Obis now, just because we don't really need him with 4 minutes extra time. And it feels like we have this in the bag now. I'm not even going to change formation subs or anything like that. Feels like Kovacs can hold on to it, as he's a 6.6 in this game. Hubbers does a little bit of fancy footwork, and the only highlight that I see from our defensive midfielder from Kaihan definitely wasn't very good. He passes it right to their midfield, and we end up getting caught on a break. And Schwab makes easy work of that. It would be very unfortunate to see him go, but finances trump everything. And I mean, we do have a guy that's worth a decent amount. One of them I feel as though is going to go by the end of the season, but he is still only 29. And I know Aston Villa's come calling for him, which we might entertain, like I said before. If the price is right, we will definitely do it. Selke with 9.6 grade is pretty good. All in all, happy. Let's see where this sends us. And we get skyrocketed up to 6th place with that victory, but we do have the extra game at hand. But the 3-0 is going to help. If Freiburg ends up losing by 2 or more, or even just lose in general, then it will kind of make up the difference there. But massive, we do jump over our rivals and the current champions of the Bundesliga. It's safe to say that they are not going to have 2 seasons in a row. But all in all, pretty good. Kovacs still producing pretty well. It does look like his pace is still not where we want his acceleration, but it's only 7, but I can definitely see that moving up. Balde is the worst, but he does have a 7.0 rating. He is currently wanted by Freiburg, and if they end up coming calling, I might be entertained to do it. He's only a League 3 player that does feature in, so maybe that's why he's not doing as well, but all in all, I will show you the one guy that we're looking at here. Franco Mastantuono, who looks very good, 17-year-old Argentinian from River, and I mean, the price is right. We can get him for probably under 7 million, which isn't going to hurt us too much. So he's the focal point of this transfer window for sure, and he can play attacking mid as well, which I mean I do like a lot, because it's going to put less pressure on Balde, and even Curly can kind of play more as a defensive midfielder role as opposed to necessarily having him as attack as well. But having a rotation between the two of them is definitely something I'm going to want to see for sure. Curly's right there actually, as I end up doing a misclick. But like I said, he's still pretty decent in terms of defensive midfielder. I like his technique passing. First touch is pretty good as well. And I guess the balance is the only thing that's not that good, but we'll come back for the transfer window for sure and see what kind of things we can wheel and deal. We do have a friendly that we've managed to do for Mallorca, but I feel as though, you know what, we're going to come back for the Hertha Berlin one, and we're going to come back for the Wolfsburg one, or actually, let's come back for Dortmund. Hertha Berlin and Dortmund, and then we'll kind of feature as to what concludes with these this transfer window. We did manage to draw Werder Bremen for the Pokal in the quarterfinals, and this is what it looks like. It's us against Werder Bremen, Bayern against Leverkusen, Dortmund against Leipzig, so perfect storm for us. And then if Borussia loses to Schalke, I do like our chances of facing Schalke. And I mean, 1.2 million for the appearance here, which I feel as though we're going to win, and then we get 2.4 for this one as well. Just watching the money add up is massive, and if we end up winning, that's an extra 5 million. That can solve some of our problems, and it could be the first trophy that we end up doing. I do like our chances at winning this season, because I feel as though in the Bundesliga, all the top teams, which are all these 3 that are in it, and then obviously Borussia, all these teams are going to be fighting for that as well as the league, which I feel as though they're going to be a little bit too distracted, and we do have a chance that we could pull our punches a little bit sooner, but one of the top teams is definitely going to be out of it, and I do like our chances to move forward. But hopefully you guys like that, and leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see you in the transfer window, the most exciting part of this season for sure, and thank you all for watching. Until next time.